Film starts with a girl named Anna Rock, and Anna suffers from severe agoraphobia, which is simply an anxiety disorder where people affected by it cannot leave their homes because for them, all public places are dangerous environments. If they leave their homes, they experience a severe panic attack until they return home. Moreover, this phobia has no cure. Anna, who suffers from this phobia, has not left her home for 10 years, and she receives food regularly every day from a person named Dan. One day, Anna hears a noise in the garden, and she goes down to check the source of the sound, only to find her brother, Conrad, sitting outside in the garden, and she asks him to come inside the house. Conrad is her brother who has pancreatic cancer and has been living with Anna since their father's death, and she is the one taking care of him. The next morning, a lawyer comes to her, telling her that Conrad sent her, and the lawyer tells her that if he dies, then his sister, Anna, will inherit everything, but Anna refuses to sign the papers. During their conversation, there is a knock on the door, and when Anna opens it, she finds Dan delivering her daily food, and it is clear that Anna has a crush on Dan. While they are talking, they hear a loud thud, and Anna runs to discover that Conrad has fallen to the ground, and she helps him get up. After that, Anna stays by his side and tells him she doesn't know what she will do if something happens to him. Conrad tells her that he could die at any moment, and he keeps encouraging and supporting her to leave the house, but she refuses. When he tells her that she should forgive their parents, she gets angry with him and tells him that's impossible. Then she leaves him and goes out. At night, while she is sleeping, she hears the sound of the heart monitor beeping loudly, signaling that her brother, Conrad, has died, after which the ambulance arrives and takes his body. The next day, Anna cleans the house of all her brother's medicines and supplies. After that, Dan comes to deliver the daily orders to her, but she cannot control her emotions in front of him and starts to cry. Then, Dan comes in to sit with her, and she tells him about her brother's death, and Dan consoles her. He asks her if she will leave the place after her brother's death, but she tells him that she has nowhere to go. Dan tells her that he hopes to get out of this place someday, but his problem is money. Anna quickly goes to the second floor and gives him a bag, and when he opens it, he finds it full of money, and Anna tells him that this money will solve his problem and that this amount will not cause her any issues because she has multiples of it and keeps it. However, he refuses to take the money from her, thanks her, and then leaves. The next day, Anna prepares herself to attend her brother's funeral, and she receives messages from several people asking her to leave the house and attend her brother's funeral, but she is afraid to go out. After she gets ready, she decides that she will not go and will stay at home, and she takes a pot of water and sets it on fire. Then she hears a noise outside the house and discovers a car from which two people exit, approaching the house and checking to make sure no one is inside. But Anna is startled when a third person breaks in through the back door. Anna quickly hides under the table, and the third person goes to open the door for the others. After they search everywhere in the house, they confirm that there is no one inside. But the pot makes a sound, and they find the fire burning, realizing that she is still inside the house. Their leader, who is called JP, orders them to search for her and cut the communication line. Anna has moved from the ground floor to a room on the second floor, and they all continue to search for her. One of them, named Perry, manages to find her, but she escapes from him and rushes down the stairs and directly out in front of the house. However, she stops in front of the door without moving and refuses to go out into the street, which astonishes and stuns all the criminals. Even though the door is open in front of her, but she does not exit. They take her and sit her on the couch, and JP asks her why she is in the house, even though her brother is still dead, and she should be at his funeral. The third person is named Vance, who is JP's brother. JP asks her where the money is, but she remains silent and does not respond. While they are talking, Perry enters carrying a can of gasoline and tells them they should be prepared to burn the house before leaving. When Vance hears that, he tells them they cannot burn the house and seems very scared while speaking. Gets angry with his brother for talking, and Perry suggests that they should kill Anna immediately, but JP tells them they will not kill anyone. Perry is ordered to stay with her, and JP goes to talk to his brother, Vance, telling him he can go back home that his record is clean and he has committed no crime, and he can stay as he is if he leaves them alone. But Vance refuses and tells him he needs the money. JP agrees but stipulates that he must do anything he tells him. Meanwhile, Perry is with Anna and asks her why she didn't exit through the door, even though it was open and the street was in front of her. Yet she chose to stay in the house with 3 criminals instead of going out. She tells him that she suffers from an illness and hasn't left the house in 10 years. He then forces her to go out, pushes her outside, and throws her in front of the door, which causes Anna to have a panic attack, screaming hysterically, unable to see anything in front of her and feeling extremely dizzy. JP quickly descends to the sound and brings her back, but he does not immediately enter with her and first asks her where the money is. But when he notices that her condition has worsened, he brings her inside, ordering Vance to go upstairs with her and help her change her clothes. Indeed, he goes upstairs with her and brings her some clothes. And in the meantime, Anne and Perry go down to the basement and find 2 tightly closed doors downstairs and are sure that the money will be there. At that moment, Anna provokes Vance, causing him to lose his temper and forcing her to change her clothes. But suddenly, Dan enters and pushes Vance away from her, and Vance apologizes to Dan. Anna realizes that they are together, so she runs out of room. At that time, JP and Perry exit, and as soon as they see Dan, they start to hit him, going to search for Anna while restraining Dan, putting him on the couch. Meanwhile, Perry seeks to bring the bird that Anna raises, threatening her that he will kill it if she doesn't come out, but she remains silent. Perry ends up killing the bird, and Vance continues searching for her until he finds her in the bathroom. He tells the others that he can control her and brings her down with him, but Anna grabs a sharp object and stabs him in the neck, killing him, then drags his body to the basement. They keep calling for him from downstairs, and when he doesn't respond, they go up to check on him, following the blood until they find his body, and his brother collapses upon seeing it and stays by his side. However, Anna allows Perry to watch her close the door, which is connected to the kitchen. She goes out of the kitchen to get a key and presses a certain button, which opens a trapdoor to the basement and locks them inside it. Perry and JP try to break the door, but without success. Meanwhile, Dan tries to free himself, but to no avail. Suddenly, they all hear the sound of the boiling pot, and Anna goes to turn off all the lights and lock the door so that no one can get out. After that, Dan calls out to her to free him, telling her that he came to check on her after she didn't go to the funeral and that he doesn't know any of them except Vance, and that he only told him about the money and didn't know he would do that. She believes him and approaches him to free him, but she doesn't free him. Instead, she breaks his finger, then takes him to the trapdoor and throws him in with them. She goes to a strange room in the house and turns on the television and speakers, having set up a camera in the basement to monitor them and listen to what they say. Dan continues to ask for help, so Perry goes to assist him, and when he sees his feet, they are broken from falling from above. JP goes to hold him tightly, and Perry manages to put his leg bone back into its natural position, while Anna is shocked as she watches and cries for Dan. Then looks around and discovers Vance's body, which makes him very sorrowful. Meanwhile, Anna opens the door for them holding a strange device and asks Dan about his condition. When he continues to talk to her, Perry feels angry, curses her, and breaks Dan's leg that she had already set right. So, Anna tells JP that room number 2 has a first aid kit, and she tells him that she opened it and he can go in. He enters and discovers that the room is dark, and when he enters, Anna presses a button that lights up the room, closing the door on JP. When the door closes on him, Anna leaves, abandoning them. When JP enters to look at the room, he finds it contains a bed, a wardrobe, and children's toys, looking like a normal room, while Anna watches him from a hidden camera inside that room. After that, Perry takes Vance's body and places it at the door of room number 1 so it won't close like the other room. Perry continues searching for a way to escape the place, but he finds a rock and tries to break the door until he finally succeeds, opening the door and entering another room. Anna watches him on the camera and gets angry when he enters the second room, and Perry starts looking for anything in the room he entered, But Anna appears from behind him and hits him on the head with a hammer. But Perry does not die. He manages to stand up and hit her back, choking her until he is about to kill her. But the wound on his head worsens, and he dies before he can kill her. At the same time, the lawyer arrives to check on Anna because she didn't go to the funeral. Anna hears her voice, reveals herself, and interacts with her normally, not making her feel anything. At this time, Dan enters behind Perry and is surprised to find Perry's body on the ground, noticing a refrigerator beside him. When he opens it, he finds a body inside, shocking him. However, he discovers next to the refrigerator the tunnel that Anna used to entrance Perry, and he heads to the trapdoor, continuing to scream, which the lawyer can hear. But Anna tells her that Dan needs her help in the basement, so the lawyer leaves, opens the trapdoor again, descends to the basement, goes to Dan, grabs him by the hand, and takes him into the room with JP, locking them in together. Then Anna goes to a room next to the one they are locked in and finds a body lying on the floor along the way. When Dan enters, he tells JP that Perry has been killed and that there is a body in the refrigerator. JP tells him that the room has the same design, toys, and everything similar to what he saw upstairs while he was searching for the money, and he is surprised to find the same content in the basement. Jay understands that she was watching them from the room and tries to break the mirror in the room where Anna is, but she tells him through the microphone that it cannot break. She tells him that there is a shirt in the wardrobe and asks him to wear the shirt or else Conrad will come in on them. Scoffs at her, saying that Conrad is dead. Dan asks her to open the door, but she tells him she won't open it until he wears the shirt. Agrees and puts on the shirt. Concludes that Conrad was a serial killer who lured his victims to the basement and killed them while she watched the victims as she does now. He tells her that the only difference this time is that Conrad is dead and continues to provoke her until she gives them a notebook from behind the wall. This notebook lists all the names of the victims they killed, along with records of the victims, and all of them were child molesters. She tells them they had not done anything wrong and that they were killing people who deserved to die, like her father, because he molested her when she was little. But Conrad, her brother, saved her from him and killed him. She explains that because of this incident, she had not left the house since, and her brother, Conrad, built all these rooms to torture child molesters. JP gets angry and tells her that her brother was mentally ill and killed her father for pleasure, not to save her. Because of this, he became a serial killer, not because he wanted to rid society of molesters, but Dan gets angry at him and forces him to be quiet. Anna calls out to Dan and presses a button that opens a box containing a gun and a single bullet in front of Dan. She tells him to take the gun and kill JP, and in exchange, she will free him. But Dan refuses, telling her he is not a criminal. JP takes the gun. Anna tries to make him feel guilty because he is the reason for her little brother's death and tries to convince him to kill himself. But he prefers to laugh at her, saying he won't kill himself and threatens to kill Dan. But out of love for him, she presses a button on her machine to open the door for them. JP and quickly escape together, but before JP exits, he takes his brother's body out of the house with him. As he exits angrily, he strikes Dan and knocks him unconscious, then goes in to pour gasoline to set fire to the house. But Anna follows him and prevents him from igniting it. They fight, and as JP manages to grab a rope and wrap it around her neck, he is about to kill her. But Dan enters, tries to stop him, and distracts him. Anna takes the gun from his pocket and kills him. Dan exits the house without saying anything. After that, Anna leaves the house for the first time in 10 years, and before she leaves, she sets the house on fire and departs, and the film ends.